Welcome, everyone. I am with Peggy Matheson today. She is the author of the book She Said, best-selling author. So we're going to talk to her a little bit about that book, and also just about her and some of the things that she likes to do and the influence that she makes on so many people. And I think that you'll all be excited to get to know her, as I am as well. So Peggy, welcome. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? And basically anything that you want us to know.
I actually help people heal from trauma and help them live and recognize their greatness. So, and I've been doing that through a restorative guided meditation process called The Journey.
Oh.
And I also have been working as a coach to help people with the cognitive steps for that, to find their joy, to live in peace and harmony, and to overcome emotional abuse if that's part of their history or part of what they're going through currently.
Wow.
So
that's so good. So important for us to be able to learn how to feel peace in the middle of all the storms. And it's a challenge, but I think that a lot of things that you teach are so valuable. So I'm excited to hear more about how you do that. The journey is what he said, the journey.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about your book. What inspired you to write the book?
Let me tell you a little bit about my background, and that'll kind of give you a little bit about my book. First of all, here's the book.
Okay. Good.
And I didn't set out to write a book when I started writing. This was just an outpouring of my own healing. I had started doing this restorative guided meditation and years ago. And as you unencumber yourself from the weight of the stress that you've been holding on to and the negativity and all of that, it starts to free up your spirit. You start to live from a place of joy. And this is for sure what happened to me. And in that process, I started creating and started writing, and this poetry started pouring out of me. And it really is expressive of my own healing journey, my own journey of overcoming self-doubt, of feelings of not being good enough, and also eventually what I came to understand was emotional abuse, which I didn't realize I was going through at the time when I started this. Yeah. So all of the poems, except for there's like 21 poems in this book, so it's poetry, and then I've drawn the pictures to go with the poems.
Adult coloring books, I love those.
I marked them. Yeah, so it's an adult coloring book. So let me see if I can find. I'm gonna find. I started doing this, and after I started sharing my poetry with people, and they just loved it. And I can't find the one I'm thinking of, but here's one that's pretty impactful.
Yeah.
So anyway,
did you draw those?
I drew them. Oh. So I drew all the pictures and I wrote all the words.
Oh, great.
So
I love it.
Anyway, and this one's actually the very first picture that I drew, which I drew not digitally, but by hand. And I actually went online to try and figure out, how do you draw a coloring book? Because a friend told me she was upset because I'd done a creativity workshop. I'd used the guided meditation. I'd used the music, my music background. I'd used I'd had them writing. I shared my poetry. And this one girl afterwards said, I'm so upset that I can't buy your poetry. I said, you want to buy my poetry? So that got the idea going. And so I started drawing, and I hadn't drawn since I was a girl, since I was like maybe in middle school, I think. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try this. So I went on YouTube to figure out how to try this. And I'm like, the YouTube video I looked at was just, get like jar lids and just different shapes from your kitchen. And so that's what this shoe is.
Oh.
It's the side of some jar lids.
That's great. I love that.
So that's how I got
creative.
So anyway, so that's how it got started. But it really came out of my own healing, my own releasing my own fears and doubts, and just opening into this creativity, which is such a powerful part of our healing. And the thing that was so great is that years after I started writing this, and once my book was really well underway to getting published, I realized that our creative self connects us to our personal power. And so many times when we're not doing what we love, which is part of our creativity, maybe because there's some force in our life that's like pushing down on us, controlling us, taking away our power.
Yes.
We're giving up our power. So this creative self is so amazing because it's where we tap into our power. Yeah. And I had no idea. And actually, writing this poetry really was a big part of, I think, protecting me during a time when I was not being treated very well.
Oh, I would love for you to share one or two of your poems if you would be willing.
Yes, I would love to. I'm going to share the one that goes with this picture.
Okay.
The one that goes with this picture on the front. It's called Tub of Lard.
Okay.
I think a lot of people really relate to this poem. And I think this poem is really about compassion, about self-compassion and self-love.
Yes.
So here it goes. Tub of lard, that's not me, but I have a thickness sure as can be. It creeps on in and paints me fat, keeping me worried about all that. Then the thoughts come flooding too. They keep me from really seeing you. For I'm worried about me now, how I look. I know it's not the cover, but the book, yet I have a critic in my head that makes me feel so bad that I eat bread or stuff my face at night when I'm sad. That old fart, she makes me so mad. So I worry and I fret and I work out and I sweat. And the thickness starts to go and the critic starts to say, see, you're not so fat now, you're better than the rest. And I should kick her out and lock the door, but I really like the fact that she thinks I'm the best. So I seesaw and I gloat and I float and I sweat and I put her in the closet and I play this little game. If I just forget about her, then maybe she'll go away. Then the thickness starts to creep and at the door she starts to peep and here I feel all bad again and Nate start flying like fat again. Oh, stop it now, I'm done with this, and hug her big and plant a kiss. I love you anyway, I say, any way you choose to play. And so it starts. I change the game to loving me and her the same. So no matter what she says, I send my love and go to bed.
Oh, I love that. That is so good. There's so much wisdom in that. And it made me cry. That's so funny because it's not a poem that should probably make someone cry, but there's a lot of truth to that. And it spoke to my inner soul that we get caught up in what other people think, our fears, or that we're better than or less than because of our insecurity, and that gets in the way of us connecting with others. But it was just such a fun way for you to describe that, a humorous way to describe something that's very important, very touching. So thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have another one?
Do I have another one? Yeah. So I really, really spent some time putting this together in the order of how all these poems go. And really, this first poem, that's the first poem in the book. And it really talks about the self-talk and how we have this negative self-talk. And then, all of that. And then I kind of dive down into some of the painful stuff and some of the playful stuff and more. But then I wanted to end with, so much of what we need to do is just land in a place of connectedness to our center. That whole mindfulness thing, which is so powerful. And this is kind of where I land in the end of this book, and it's called The Can Do. Okay, and this is the picture.
Oh wow, beautiful hairdo with a bee.
The bee, the can do. So I can do, I can dat, I can do the mama fat. I can be, I can bat, I can bounce and get right back. Can do, can be. Do be.
That's so good. Oh my gosh. I'm going to want you to share next week when we have our live. I'm crying. That's so funny. I cry over your poem. But
Yay,
you're
it
fun.
touches you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it definitely touched me. That's fun. But it's not like it's not like wallowing in a pity. That's what I love about it. Like it's stuff that touches your soul that you can relate to and that you can learn from, but it's not shaming and it's not something that like you're not focusing on that shame. It's more just like I just love it. Lighthearted. I love that. That's so good.
You say lighthearted because that's exactly that's what I wrote on the back of the book. It's like color, read, write, or draw. These pages will invite you into new possibilities of self-discovery and lighthearted awakenings.
Lighthearted awakenings. Exactly what you meant to do to create is exactly what you created. I love that. And so I'm excited to be able to talk more with you. We're going to have a live on next week on Wednesday for those people, well, for anyone that can see the video, that wants to watch the video. But anyone who is a participant in our challenge will get to see the whole live video, and also any challenges that Coach Peggy might have for us, or anyway, any other bonuses, and the book, right? An opportunity to purchase the book. I would love for you to say a little bit, as much as you want to say and have time for, to tell us about the Enneagram, because that is what we will be talking about. And I was so excited to find out that that is one of your specialties, that you understand it. So we're having our participants take this, as you know, and then on Wednesday, Coach Peggy will walk us through that as well and explain the purpose of it and all that stuff. I just wanted to give her a little highlight of it right now.
Great. So I just was so excited when you said that you want to work with the Enneagram, because that is a personality type that a lot of people don't understand. It's a system, and a lot of people don't know about it, but it's so powerful and wonderful. And I want to read this definition that's on the Enneagram Institute website. It says the Enneagram is one of the most powerful and insightful tools for understanding ourselves and others. At its core, the Enneagram helps us to see ourselves at a deeper, more objective level and can be of invaluable assistance on our path to self-knowledge. And of course, that's a lot of what we're talking about here, and when we're talking about becoming our best selves, that self-knowledge is really important. And so the Enneagram is a personality type. It talks about personality types. And it's really about, now there's 9 different personality types, and I'm just going to say it's on a triangle, and there's 3 at the top and 3 on each side. And each personality leads from a different place. So some people call it instinctual, but some of the personalities, 3 of them lead from what we call, in my training, was the body. They move through life more starting with they lead with their body. And there's some people who lead with their emotions, and there's some that lead with their mind or their thinking. So that just kind of gives you how different these personality types are. And it's at once complex but simple, which is what's so powerful. And the cool thing is, so I was trained on this years ago, and I do guided meditation work around this to help people release some of the core drivers that are causing them stress, causing them to not feel good enough, to feel like they're not loved, to feel shame, to whatever the stressors are for them. And so you can really release those at a very deep level with the guided meditation work, because it taps into the non-conscious. So it's not what's going on up here that we want to work on. It's the template that's been laid down inside in our cells. And when we release those, it opens the cells for healing to happen at a non-conscious level, which means that it's like the root of the tree, you kick it out and the old fruit you don't want falls off.
Yes.
And it's just kind of this beautiful, graceful,
easiest way to change it. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so I do work with that with the Enneagram to help people. But the thing that's so wonderful and that's powerful about, and then I love that you're doing this with singles, is because it helps us not only to understand ourselves, but it can help us to understand others. And it can help bring compassion for ourselves and for others. And the cool thing is that is that every personality type, none is better than another. They're numbered 1 through 9. The numbers don't mean anything. They're just very neutral. It's not like one's better than the other.
Yeah.
Everyone has their when they're healthy, there's a lot of great. And when they're not healthy and they're super stressed, then there's stuff that comes up, just like everybody.
Helping understanding, yes, understanding what those are. And I like too how it helps you to find your match, a better match.
It helps you. And I found this in my dating because I have this knowledge. It's easier for me to say, oh, I see this person leads with their mind, or I see they maybe lead with their emotions. And it's not that I'm judging them necessarily, because it's not like an done deal. You're this and I don't want it. Because it really, honestly, a healthy version of anyone on the Enneagram, a healthy version of 2 people together will work.
Yes.
Which is part of why I think love and the higher values that we have for a faith-based belief system really is powerful, because that healing, that love can really overcome a lot.
Yeah.
So what you're doing here with the dating Olympics and with the 5-day challenge and with all the stuff you're trying to do is to help people, give them tools and help them find things that are going to gain greater understanding and insight to become their best self.
Yeah.
And then we have more singles out there that are their best selves, and then pretty soon somebody's going to match with you at their best selves, and we're going to make it work, hopefully.
Yes. And that's why really, I'm so glad you brought that up, because one of my fears in doing this, or one of the things that I'm conscious of, is that people might get the impression that the whole course is about being better. Like, you're not good enough yet, so you need to make these changes to be better. But it has nothing to do with developing traits or characteristics, but it's about healthy, and it's about acknowledging it's okay to be imperfect, and it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to be less than, or whatever we might, call it. But it's not less than and more than. That's basically what I'm saying, is that it's loving yourself first is really where I want to start. And that's why I'm starting with this course. Love yourself, and then everything else just falls into place. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, or what anyone else thinks of you, because you love yourself, and then so it's already there. You don't need it from someone else. So those are the kind of things that are so important.
It's so true. And you know what, Sherry, it's so true. And it's so important to realize that you can't love someone else if you don't really love yourself.
Yeah.
You can't.
So true. It's so true.
But this is the power we have, is to change ourselves, not to change us because we're bad, but to become our best selves, to be willing to go through that growth process to become a more healthy self.
Yeah.
And that love is really, really important in finding a partner.
Yes, so important. And that's exactly why I thought that would be a good start, the best first week to start, of loving themselves enough and ready to move forward in all the other things that we have to teach or share or learn from, whatever. But gosh, Peggy, that's so good. And just in the few minutes that we've met, I've just been so enlightened, and I love the things that you share. I'm excited to learn more. I just wonder if there's anything else that you want to share with this group of amazing people, or anyway, anything about what you do, or a message for them, anything that you.
I hope that you guys, everybody out there, will tune in to this 5-day challenge. And on Wednesday, I'm going to be giving a tool that's going to help with the voices in your head. And it'll be a challenge. It'll be a little bit of a challenge, but not anything you can't do. It's going to be easy, but it's just a really powerful tool that I'm going to offer you. So, and you can find me at peggymatheson.com.
Thank you. That's what I was going to ask you next.
You can do peggymatheson.com/book, and you'll go right to where my book is. And pick that up for yourself and get started on your own beautiful, self-loving, delightful journey.
Yes, so good. And I do have a question for you. I'm having the participants take the Enneagram test now. So does that work with your coaching for them to have already done the test? And then, okay, so that's best, right? And then when we meet on Wednesday, then you'll be able to explain it more. Okay.
Yeah, because then they will have an idea of what they're of where what I call it the personality type they tend to sit in most. And we have stuff that we have to deal with on the planet here, right? All of our mortality. But they might sit in a certain place. They might kind of sit in 2 places or 3 places on the Enneagram. And actually everybody experiences all of the types, all 9 of the types. It's just what drives us the most, how we're driven. It would be helpful for them to do the test before, because they'll have an idea what we're talking about, and they'll have an idea they can think in terms of, where they sit on the Enneagram and all of that. So
well, good. Well, I'm excited to hear more. And thank you, Peggy, so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
everyone. Have a beautiful day.